Today's video about sunk cost fallacy is brought to you by Reddit user JW45632, who posted this insane loss. Okay, I don't even know what to say. Keep watching to find out how not to be this guy, or at least know why you're losing $83,000. We're starting right now. If it's your first time here, I'm Will West, and I try to find the truth that will help you make better investing decisions. Would it be crazy to gently tap on that big red subscribe and the bell button? It costs nothing and you will get notified of any new videos. There's a common fallacy that we all fall into, especially that poor guy on Reddit. How do you lose $83,000? Leave a comment and tell me which stocks you think this guy lost his money on. Clearly, this guy struggles with the sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy is responsible for so many bad relationships, failed businesses, and if you're anything like me and that guy on Reddit, bad stock decisions. In this video, we'll cover what sunk cost fallacy is. Watch until then you will see how you as an investor can stop it from destroying your portfolio. What is sunk cost fallacy? Sunk cost is the money that has been spent and cannot be recovered. In stocks, if you buy one share of a stock that is worth $100 today and tomorrow it is worth only $90, you have $10 in sunk cost that you cannot recover. The money is gone and you must rely on the stock to increase in its value to recover your money. A fallacy is a decision made with bad reasoning. And in the case of stocks, that is almost always the idea of, I lost so much money, it can't possibly go down any further. So the sunk cost fallacy in case of stocks is seen when you hold on to a stock for too long. You have the mindset of, I lost so much money holding this stock for so long, I can't sell it now. As stock investors, we must rely on the data we are given. Most of the time that means stock charts on Robinhood or StockTwits or whatever site you use. The sunk cost fallacy usually comes into play when we allow ourselves to become emotionally invested in stocks instead of relying on the data presented to us. Sunk cost is not just about trading and investing. Everyone has fallen into this fallacy at the car repair shop. They hand you a giant bill and you're faced with a big decision. Do I continue investing money into an old car or do I buy a new one? Or sometimes we do it in relationships. You've been together for 20 years, you have a family. How can you leave now? Or maybe you've done it with a job you hate, but feel stuck there because you think, how can I change my career when I already worked here for the last 15 years? Sunk cost fallacy is the monster in your head that tells you to hold on to something with hope that things will improve when all other signs point to it not working. Do you do this a lot? I know I do. In investing, this is a very common mental error that forces many beginner investors to keep clinging on to losing trades instead of cutting their losses. If you're not familiar with loss aversion, check out my video as it explains loss aversion. Simply put, when we talk about loss aversion in investing, we're talking about a mental process where our brains do everything to prevent a loss while trading or investing. Loss aversion is a psychological phenomenon that all humans are guilty of. By becoming aware of it, you will have fewer stocks that lose money. The losses loom larger than gains, quote, is a great way to describe sunk cost. In other words, losses hurt more than gains. We get excited when we make money, but the loss? I don't know about you, but I feel sick in my gut. My entire body hurts when I lose a lot of money, and there's actual science to back it up. Think about it. Which case makes you more emotional? The fear of losing $100 you have in your wallet right now,
loser,
or finding $110 on the street? Most of the time, as weird as it sounds, we would rather not lose what we have as opposed to gaining something new. Here's another example of sunk cost fallacy that happened to me. I used to love bowling.
Nico, it's Roman. Let's go bowling.
Bowling's a lot of fun and I invested a lot of money in it. Leagues, balls, and lane fees ate a lot of money for a long time. So later in life, when I started to get tired of bowling, I kept doing it because I thought, I've invested so much time into it, I can't quit now. Our caveman brain is afraid of losing all that energy and time invested, so we continue doing something that is not enjoyable or profitable, simply because we believe that it will eventually pay off. Sunk cost fallacy is when we think, I've spent so much time, money and effort on this. I must keep going. Modern human brains are vastly different from those of cavemen, except the limbic lobe. That is the part that controls our emotional reaction to events. For cavemen, this was important because if they felt scared, their brain needed to react quickly to prevent them from dying. Unfortunately for us, the part of our brain has not evolved much since cavemen, so when something like losing a lot of money on a single stock happens, we literally feel like we are going to die. Ever wanted to have a near-death experience? So how do we avoid the sunk cost fallacy? Become aware! Point it out yourself. Warren Buffett says that rule number 1 is to never lose money and rule number 2 is to never forget rule number 1. We can help avoid the sunk cost fallacy by not accepting losses. Of course, losses will happen during investing, but what Mr. Buffett here is referring to, I think, is that you should not be complacent in your losses. And when it comes to sunk cost fallacy, being satisfied or accepting a loss is one of the first signs that you have fallen into this trap. The sunk cost fallacy allows us to convince ourselves that losing money is okay. We can avoid it by not accepting losing as an option. If you are a day trader, this could mean not holding on to falling stocks for too long. When a stock begins to lose value, build the discipline to sell it before its downturn brings down the rest of your portfolio. Rule number 1. Be an emotionless robot. Rely on the data you have. Charts, historical prices, future earnings, and internet research can give you an unbiased view of potential investment. Use those tools. Rule number 2. Don't get emotionally invested. We already talked about how you should always trust the data you have and not rely on your gut feeling. Our brains trick us into thinking that it is smart to hold an investment for longer than we should. Don't make emotional decisions. Buying a stock because you feel that it is going to increase is a bad idea. Think with your reasoning brain, not with your emotional caveman brain. Third rule. Only take advice from people with a proven track record. We all take stock advice from other people. News articles, blog posts, and of course social media is full of experts trying to show you how much money they've made and talking about their own investments. Remember that you often have no way of researching someone else's opinions, and that a lot of investing experts are not very educated about investment, but they are experts in taking your money. It's not uncommon for day traders to buy and sell the same stock multiple times. Have you ever invested in something a second or third or fourth time and thought, this investment did well for me the last time, so it will do it again? In reality, investments are not bound by their historical fluctuations. If you hear the voice, I've been losing so much so I better keep losing, instead of, this stock has good potential to grow due to X, Y, and Z, take a step back and look objectively at your situation. Are you stuck in the sunk cost fallacy on your investments? We can't silence the voice in our heads that says, you lost so much money on this investment 3 years in a row, it can't possibly get any worse, as it's human nature to feel this way. However, we can use it as an indicator for how disciplined we are in our investments. Have you ever had one of those days when all of your stocks seem to be doing well? Maybe you had 2 days of great returns, but you get nervous and think, oh no, this is too good. Have you ever felt that first wave of fear rush all over you? If you're like me, the first thing I do when I feel something's wrong with my investment is to head over to our favorite toxic, ridiculous, lightly moderated investment board to see what other investors are saying. This calms our fear of losing, fear of missing out, and our fear of making a mistake. But we all know that in the end, these are emotions that will kill your portfolio. Feelings that will make you cling on to losing stocks or getting in too late along with the rest of the herd. While we wrap this up, let's look at one more situation to demonstrate just what a financial loss does to our brains. Let's say you're holding no stocks right now and you don't have any money to invest. You feel content, you feel neutral. If I were to give you $1 million to invest in stocks right now, you'd feel great all of a sudden. You'd feel amazing. But before you manage to buy anything, I take that $1 million away from you. You should feel the same as you did before, right? But you feel worse than you felt before. Fear of loss is always twice as intense as pleasure from gain. sinking more and more money into an investment in a never-ending loop. It is way harder to do this once you become aware. And now let's summarize how we as investors can become aware of the sunk cost fallacy monster and slay it. First step is to become aware of your feelings. When making a decision, reflect if you are basing it on your logical brain or your emotional caveman brain. Review your investments on a regular basis, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually. Think with your brain, feel with your emotions. Investing is all about thinking rationally. Do this often and practice it. Once it becomes second nature, you will become a better investor. You will stop losing money by clinging onto losing positions, be it in investing or life in general. You will also be able to recognize this mistake in others and help them become aware of these mental monsters playing in our minds. And maybe you do know someone else who is suffering from the sunk cost fallacy. Would it hurt to send them this video? To watch even more videos specifically made for beginner investors, click into this playlist on the screen right now, and if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time.